Does that mean that there's a vulnerability to the world?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are mythological frameworks in which if you'll allow me to use these mythologically and not in sort of any biological sense, in which, the sacred is not only masculine, but also feminine, not only yang, but also yin, right?
Which brings in the fertility, the womb-like quality.
Yes, exactly.
Both, yes. Both,
Yeah.
both the womb-like quality and the fertility, the source of creation.
And the Hebrew word for compassion literally means to be like a womb.
Right. Which is, I think, in some ways a better way of understanding, perhaps even more reflexively, than the sort of partner-to-partner relationship that the three of you are describing. But it's a better way to conceive of oneself as that, having that womb-like property, because then your commitments, your covenants, your inward covenants aren't to a product, but to the processual crafting, the processual birthing.
And Socratic midwifery is to respect that wombness in other people. Yeah,
of course. And there's a way in which that the practice of that midwifery, when it becomes reflective, can, I think, afford connection to one's, it can afford access to the unthinkable in ways that the unthinkable is not otherwise accessible. So what you were saying about having a self that subsists ahead of you, that seems to draw you forth and beckon, I think one thing that I've noticed just of myself, which is interesting, is that reflecting on the process of maturity is being able to notice when the current state of your relation with others and with the world is completely supersessive to what was possible for yourself 10 years ago. Right? Being able to look back and think, well, who I am now, the way I've figured my life, or the way that my life has figured me in relation, is such that 10 years ago I could not have conceived it. And being able to then interiorizing that realization into a dialectic, I think allows us to cast that pattern forward. To be able to imagine if the present, and I'm speaking horizontally, but there's a way, of course, in which this is vertical too, that it opens to the verticality. But if my present is unthinkable to my past, then my future is unthinkable to my present.
Right.
And that imagination that affords, that reflection affords, then avails this tension between the sort of the self that draws forth ahead of me.